Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Finishing up, trying to multitask. We got the Central Atlanta Charlotte Regional Transportation Committee meeting tonight as well. So we're trying to be in multiple places at once. So again, thank you all for being here, and thank you, Council. First meeting of the year. Look forward to working with you all and getting off to a great year. These storms that are constantly popping up are challenges for us, and I think for the entire state. But again, ask everyone to be safe and make sure that you protect yourselves in the event of emergencies. So with that, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order tonight, and I'll ask Mr. Hinkle to give us an invocation.
We could bow our heads, please. Oh God, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion and allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Please stand as we recite our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that, your participation. At this time, Council, you have your agendas in front of you and your packet. I think there's been a few adjustments over the last day so since our Monday meeting, agenda meeting. But I'll ask Council if there are any adjustments to the agenda as it's presented. Staff?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Under Roman numeral 7, closed session, I would like to add consult with attorney, General Statute 143-318.11A3 as a follow-up to our consultation, same subject matter after our agenda, pre-agenda
Okay.
session.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Number 13, Coach Mayhew is sick and cannot be with us. We would like to postpone that until February. So
Okay.
we'd like to remove number 13. Thank you. And 14 is not in attendance. If they show up, we will get to them, but they said they may have some issues with child care, and if they show up, we can. If not, we will also postpone that one.
So, Council, with your permission to approve the agenda as recommended, we will add a closed session to item number 7 to consult with our attorney. We will remove item 13 and 14, depending on whether or not the family is able to be here. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion is made, received a second. Any question or comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. The next item on the agenda is our consent items. These items are approved with one vote. And any council member can remove that consent item, and we can move it to a regular, either new or old business. But unless there's any motion by the council, we'll approve these items with one vote. We've got 4 sets of minutes, a contract that we discussed on Monday between the town of Troutman and debt books, and 3 annexation requests setting the public hearing dates for February 8th. Is there a motion to approve our consent agenda? Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Mayor.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is presentations and recognitions. And the first item is a presentation of Resolution 3923, recognizing the distinguished service of George W. Harris. And I will read this resolution. Whereas George H. Harris was elected to the town of Troutman Council on November 5th, 2019, to serve a 4-year term until December 14, 23. And whereas George Harris, during his time, was seated on the town council, he generously served the town of Troutman as delegate to the Central Carolina Council of Governments from December 2019 to December 22nd, 2022, and served as the alternate delegate to Charlotte Regional Transportation Organization from January 2022 to December 2022. Mr. Harris also served on the Town of Troutman Land Use Plan Advisory Committee and as a liaison for the Town of Troutman Planning Board. Whereas during that time, Mr. Harris served on the Troutman Town Council. He encouraged growth, capital improvement projects, downtown redevelopment, infrastructure improvement, transportation initiatives, contributed to the town's budgetary matters, and played a part instrumental in the town receiving state funding. And whereas Mr. Harris served from December 2015 until being elected to the town council in 2019 as a contributive member of the Troutman Planning and Zoning Board. Now therefore be it resolved, the town council of the town of Troutman acknowledges and greatly appreciates the dedication, thoughtful service, leadership, and expertise that Mr. Harris has unselfishly provided to the town of Troutman and its citizens. Signed this day, actually signed back in December, but I'll ask Mr. Harris to come up and I'll present him with this plaque.
If I may, at this time, sir, I'd like to present ex or former Councilman Harris, this paddle, Town of Troutman, and also your nameplate from your service with the town, 4 years.
Hold on, George. Turn the paddle around, she needs you.
We're not going to use it.
And I'd like to,
Make any comments?
I'd just like to make a comment that it's been an honor to serve the town council and the planning and zoning board for the last 7 years. It's like, I love Troutman. Even though I wasn't born here, I do have a connection that I was at Bering Springs as a child. My oldest brother graduated from South Iredale on a state wrestling championship. And then my daughters came from West Virginia to Troutman to raise our kids. So I'm tied to Troutman. I love it. I hope that somewhere in the future there'll be a spot that the town needs me to help serve. Because I believe that you serve your communities and make it better. Thank you all.
The one thing I would like to add is that certificate failed to mention an awesome assistant radio host as well.
I missed that.
I'd just like to add, sir, I was instrumental in getting George to run for the council, and I do not regret it. I'm sorry he's no longer with us, but he is still a part of our town, and I look forward to him continuing in his service to the town in whatever way he so chooses. I will say that for the past 4 years, he has been diligent in his duties. This town has been his first thought in the morning and his last thought before he goes to bed at night. And he has done a lot of things that a lot of people don't know about, but it was in the service of this town and has resulted in good things for this town. And to say he has been and continues to be an asset to the town is an understatement. And George, I personally want to thank you, sir, for everything, and I consider you a friend, and I look forward to continuing that friendship and helping you any way I can, in town service or out of town service. Yes, thank you.
And George, please give your better half our regards as well. I know how much it takes a toll on our spouses and a friend in terms of the amount of time it takes to do this role. And so again, thank you for what you've done, and please give our regards to her as well. The next item on the agenda is recognition of Mr. Cameron Jones as the Town of Troutman Employee of the Month for November. Mr. Wyatt?
Just for everybody in attendance, reminder, we are not procrastinating on recognizing Detective Sergeant Jones. He had duties that took him away, and he could not be here at last month's meeting. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Chief Josh Watson.
Good evening, Council. Sergeant Jones was nominated for Employee of the Month by another department head, not myself, that had noticed, due to, we'd moved some offices around and observed how hard Sergeant Jones worked. During the month of November, Sergeant Jones, of course, handled the investigation of the homicide incident that occurred that month. The investigation required numerous interviews. He had to gather statements, analyze evidence, data, and while doing this task that took a lot of effort and time, he still continued to perform a myriad of duties that are essential just for our operations. Sergeant Jones, in addition to being an investigator, handles a lot of administrative tasks. During this time, he would help other officers with assistance, things they were investigating, and also, answer their questions. His performance during the month of November is not just how he conducts himself, during that month, but the way in which he works every single day. I speak not just for myself as the chief, but for the entire department. I want to say we are proud of Sergeant Jones and consider it a privilege to have him as a part of our team. And Sergeant Jones, as I've worked with him, has actually become a close friend, and I'm very honored that he was selected as the Employee of the Month for November.
Thank you, Sergeant Jones, for your continued dedication to the town and to the department. Your efforts absolutely don't go unnoticed. And again, we appreciate what you do for us every day and keeping our community safe. So thank you so much. The next item on the agenda is recognition of Darren Yoder as the Town Employee of the Month for December. And again, I'll turn it over to Mr. Wyatt.
Instead of me saying anything, I'll turn it over to Parks and Recreation Director Emily Watson to give the details.
Thank you. So I have the privilege of recognizing our December Employee of the Month, which is Darren Yoder. And he has been with us since early April as a maintenance technician for our department. From day one, he's been a tremendous asset to our department, and not just our department, but to the entire town, always seeking to be helpful, contribute to find the solution, produce quality work, make things better for everyone. He's consistent, reliable, skilled, and has a high quality standard of performance for himself and others. He promotes teamwork amongst his peers accepts challenges as they present themselves. He's resourceful, cooperative, and adaptable. In December specifically, he accepted a number of challenges that were not within his job description, but he stepped up to the challenge, did research, and did what was required to make the job happen. And a specific example was he built all the shelving for the police department, for the renovation project, for their evidence room. That's just one of the many examples. Other department directors describe him as always having a great attitude, being willing to help others. He goes above and beyond. Every day is an unbelievably hard worker and always a good time to be around. We're fortunate to have Darren at the town of Troutman. We appreciate the value add that he is to our team, and we're proud to present him with this award tonight. Come on, Chris. Do you want a family picture? His family's with him tonight. They're going to take a picture. Awesome.
Thank you.
And the agenda item that we removed for the Anderson Smith family, they are here.
Awesome. Okay,
Want to add them back on the agenda.
thank you. I didn't ask Sergeant Jones or Mr. Yoder if they wanted to have comments. You welcome to take the. Awesome, thank you. Was that a ditto? Okay, got it. Awesome. The next item on the agenda is recognition of the Town of Troutman Employee of the Year. This is awesome. So, Mr. Wyatt.
At this time, for everybody in attendance, we tried to keep it a secret. I don't know if it was successful, but our Employee of the Year has been extraordinary to the town in a whole, do what? Has been extraordinary in a lot of ways since he has arrived. Our town, of course, has grown. All of those are not always positive, but in this situation, it certainly has been. And he is a CPA and made sure that we were sound financially from the day that he first got here. In addition to that, entire year long, as we expressed to our department heads and those that nominated our employees of the month, and as we expressed this program to you all, an Employee of the Year was not necessarily one that did anything extraordinarily one month that carried over into the recognition. Justin has worked tirelessly and long hours to make sure that we were modernized so that we can proceed when people make public records requests on financials, that they're there because they've already been scanned into the computer and they're done within minutes instead of it taking sometimes days to do research for certain material that had been filed away. Of course, with our minimal space that we have in Town Hall, size and keeping these records for audit purposes and transparency was also integral, that he began the process of scanning these bills or accounts payable in and out so that we have double record of those. In addition to his financial duties, he has to supervise a lot of ladies up front to help with his duties. And Justin has been extraordinary. All the department heads, when they have a question, he does not guesstimate. He says, let me check and see, and he lets them know right where they are with whatever topic they may be asking as far as their budget or possible expenditure concerns. As the auditing firm indicated to us back in the winter, because of his service and the department service, we absolutely came through with a clean audit 2 years in a row since he has arrived for the town. And all that being said, that was worthy of him being Employee of the Year. Justin, if you would come up.
present to Justin Mooney, Town of Troutman Employee of the Year. Awesome.
Of course, you want the best part of the Monday family. She visited the doctor today. She
Awesome.
might not like some of us.
She's looking at me. Hey.
Parents come over for one also.
Somebody take one and
With all the talkers in my family, I'm not sure how they kept the secret.
Now you know why I was trying to talk to your wife.
Yeah, she was worried.
We'll leave that for another conversation. Justin, you're welcome to have comments.
I would just like to say, I'm really honored and, I feel totally unworthy because, all these employees here tonight and even the ones not here, they all do an incredible job. All the department heads do an incredible job. They make my job so much easier, because they keep track of their budget and I don't have to worry about them not knowing what money they spend or where it's going. They're on top of it. And, we've got a great town manager and, obviously a great town council. So, thank you all and I appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor, if I could excuse some of those employees, they gotta be back early in the morning.
Yes.
If they would like to go, they're welcome.
The next item on the agenda is new business. Is recognition of the Antrick Smith family. I'll turn it over to Ms. Wyatt.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, we have bad things to happen in Troutman. Sometimes we know why. Sometimes it's actions from good Lord above, and then sometimes it's just mischievous persons in the community. One of those was on Christmas Eve or Christmas morning is when it was discovered, and as you all can see by the pictures, somebody decided to cut all the ties down that held our garland up along the greenway near Food Line. And in that instance, Parks and Rec Director, she got calls, the police chief got calls, I got calls. We did not know that each other had been called, but we came out at different times. Emily, those red bows are very expensive, and that was her concern, is hopefully they had not been destroyed, and she laid them in such a manner so that they would not receive further damage. The Antrick Smith family, they came by and saw this, and it was such a tragedy to them. They have been community partners in a couple of events with Parks and Rec Department. I'll let Emily speak to that, but on this particular day, this heinous act bothered them so they thought that it would be a great opportunity to teach their children one of the gifts of Christmas is giving back to those around. And they took time. They had ties in their garage. That's one of the things I'd mentioned to Emily. I don't even have this many ties, but they did. And they went and got those and brought their children back. And as you can see by the picture, even on Christmas Day, teaching their children the value of giving back and supporting your community in ways that you can. And for that, I had asked Emily if she thought it was appropriate for us to recognize them. Emily, you got any other comments you would like?
I don't. We received the phone calls that the damage had happened after Santa visited that morning. We came out to assess the damage in my household. My husband and I came out to see how bad it was, just to see what the cost to replace the bows were because it was so expensive. We gathered them up, set them against the fence. We planned to come back later in the day to repair it or see if it needed to come down. So we placed them back up against put a lot of time and energy and effort into this, but it really meant a lot to our community that they restored this for us. But like Doug said, they've been partners of ours in the past before. They have huge hearts. They always want to make Troutman better. So we appreciate them for who they are and what they do. But thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and before you sit down, I'd like to read the recognition. Town of Troutman would like to recognize in grateful appreciation myself and the town council and citizens hereby recognize this family for investing your time and opening your hearts to lending a helping hand to improve the Troutman community. Again, we all appreciate what you all do, and I think it's so much of a way to give back that I think it needs to be replicated and a lesson for all of us to learn. So thank you so much, and I'd like to present this to you.
Honestly, we walked this trip. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Honestly, we walk this trail every day. Our kids were bursting at the seams with energy, so we needed something to get them out and get them going, and this was perfect. And I'm a big Christmas fan, so it hurt my heart to kind of see it. And we just appreciate the town, the display, and everything that the town has to offer. So thank you guys.
Thank you. Now we will move to item number 5, public comment. The public is invited to address the council. Excuse me, I'm sorry, new business, you're right. Considering a grant for an easement for Duke Energy Corporation. I'll turn that over to Mr. Wyatt.
If you will, next slide, Mike. Town council, we spoke of this Monday. We did not get an updated revised version that would be appropriate to adopt as to the specifics. I am asking that you all consider granting an easement, assuming that it is approved by the planning and director and also our town attorney and our consulting firm. If all three of those agree, once that product is submitted to us, I'm asking that you all allow them to approve that final rendering as to be the easement. This map up front basically shows a lot of dark lines, kind of about 2 o'clock on the picture, and that's where the easement is actually located in between the 2 holding ponds, and it is simply for power to be run to the Houston Road project that is being built.
Council, you've heard the request by the manager to consider granting this easement to Duke Energy. Any question or comment? Okay. Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to grant the easement to Duke Energy.
Also move.
Motion is made that we grant the easement. And again,
And I will
Make
add
sure.
to that, if I may, Mr. Mayor, as per stated.
thank you. That's exactly where I was going. Make sure our attorney and our planning department have approved. If there's a second to that,
Second, Mr. Mayor.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. We will now move to public comment for the second time. Public is invited to address the town council with comments or concerns. The public is limited to 3 minutes per individual. Speakers must sign in at the podium and adhere to policy 51 governing comments from the public at town meetings. At this time, I'll ask if there's anyone here that would like to address the council with any comments or concerns.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay,
How are you?
great.
Hello,
Please.
council. It's my first time. My name is Christine Klantz.
Yeah.
and I live at 114 Hamptons Code Road. And this is my husband, Eric. I'm just going to go ahead and just read something, and hopefully I got it squished into 3 minutes, but I did sign him up for 3 minutes, too. Hamptons Cove Road, a once dead-end road that houses 14 homes, is now the access road to hundreds of homes. I guarantee when this project is complete, the new Hamptons Code Road will look amazingly beautiful, while the old sits in disarray from the constant beating it's taken from the developer's contractors. Our road has been the main entrance for all construction and utility work. For more than 2 years, we've dealt with speeding log trucks, speeding dump trucks, speeding concrete trucks, and the list goes on and on. We have contacted and spoke with Todd and Jonathan with the DOT and spoken with numerous people with the Highway Patrol as well as our town manager, and sadly enough, to this day, nothing's been resolved. I used to walk, jog on that road, but I can't anymore because the vehicles actually bull me off the road. None of us can walk our dogs down the road anymore because it's just very dangerous. Have you been down our road? It's barely big enough for 2 cars to pass side by side, needless to say, 2 huge trucks passing each other. Several months ago, we purchased signs on our own, and we actually installed them on the grass, green signs, metal. They didn't help at all. Our wonderful neighbor who we love so much, he's 85 years old and a Korean War veteran. His dog was tragically killed by a speeding dump truck. He witnessed it, and I witnessed the dog's remains in front of my mailbox, a vision I will never unsee. This dog was his 10-year companion who took the place of his passing wife, who he loved very much. Yesterday, one of the oversized trucks actually ran down the Hamptons Cove sign. You should see our road. It's a mess. There seems to be no accountability for all the inconvenience. We know we don't fall under city limits, but this doesn't stop the project from invading and destroying our home fronts and our lives. We went from living on a quiet country road to something that one would imagine living on the side of I-77. We are asking our town that we love so much to extend our road's responsibility onto Falls Cove developer. Why is it okay that they can use, abuse, and destroy what's not theirs just to make what's theirs a perfect haven? I invite each of you to drive down our road to tour it yourself. To close, we feel that we do matter, but we don't matter. The death of that dog and the freedom we once had has fallen on deaf ears and blind eyes. Falls Cove developer has no problem using our road for their $500,000 homes. They have no problem ignoring what is going on. They have no problem making their community so beautiful while destroying ours. We're happy, we wish that we could find some type of happy medium.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I will have some comments to that when it's staff's comments time, and we have communicated as she stated.
Okay, thank you.
Ma'am, I apologize. What is your name again?
My name is Christine Klontz.
Clance. Thank you, Ms. Clance.
Would anyone else like to address the council with any comments?
My name is Gene Reese. I'm from Mount Airy and spoke to you, I think, a couple of weeks ago. I live in Mount Airy, have 43 acres on Murdoch Road. And I would like to, number one, I appreciate what y'all do. And I would like you to consider either asking the planning board or appoint a committee to review the land use plan specifically for the designation of Murdoch Road as a light industrial zone. And, why do I make that request? Well, number one, the uncertainty about future development on that, in that area of the ETJ, every rezoning application will be vigorously opposed. We'll go through what we went through 2 weeks ago. And I suppose philosophically, do the property rights of a developer and the property rights of me who wants to sell my 43 acres, are my rights superior to the property rights of those 80 residents who are affected by light industrial development? And I would just say they're not. I think our property rights are all equal. This land, in my view, this land on Murdoch Road is far too valuable for light industrial use. That yields the least value per acre and property value for the town of any use I can think of. And again, I've mentioned to you at the last meeting, I live in a town that has a fairly mature industrial base, and I see what light industrial becomes after 20 or 30 years, and the values per acre are $30,000, $50,000, $80,000, $90,000 per acre, which again is far less than any other single use I can think of. So I would ask, and the other thing in reading through the land use document, page after page after page of that document refers to protecting the rural landscape, the agricultural nature of the community, and the map of the land use plan is inconsistent with the text of the land use plan. The text describes preserving what you have in Troutman. The map, specifically on Murdoch Road, flies in the face of that. It's just inconsistent. So I don't know what it needs to be on Murdoch Road, what plan you should have, but I just would implore you to consider reevaluating the light industrial designation, which, as you know, can be heavy industrial. I think it's just really incompatible with your land use plan. It's certainly incompatible with the quality of life. You've won the lottery in Troutman. You get to look at Mooresville and Huntersville and Cornelius and all them and not make mistakes they have made. And, you know, Troutman should not get their bad stuff. Troutman, again, has the luxury of looking how they did it and doing it even better. And I would just contend that this Murdoch Road land is far too valuable to be, you know, relegated to a light industrial use. For me, economically, the best thing for it to be is light industrial. Morally, it would be so wrong for me to sell my land to a developer or for me to develop it at the expense of these 80 property owners. And so I would just ask, I don't know what it needs to be, I would just ask that you at least consider a committee, and I think Jerry served on one, to at least examine the land use plan for possible revision.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to comment to town council?
Do we have to sign up in advance?
No, you can sign up and speak.
I'll sign up. Douglas Hainline. Anybody brought a pen with them?
Right there.
Oh, it's hiding, right? All the way to the back. Way back there. Douglas Hainline, Hoover Road. I guess piggybacking off what Gene just said, I drive to work every day, not every day, but when I go to work in Charlotte, I get the pleasure of getting to see, like he said, everything from between here, Troutman, Mooresville, on point south. And you look around and you think, that's beautiful as you get down there towards the lake. As you get up here towards Troutman, I see us becoming quickly a service economy or a light industrial sector for those communities. It's kind of like Troutman gets to serve the lake communities, the higher end communities, for their distribution of their goods, their Amazon goods, and their Walmart distribution centers. And, you know, I just feel like, are we selling ourselves short on what, to add what Gene said, are we selling ourselves short on what potentially we could have here? And it's just like, oh, you know, Cornelius and Davidson and Mooresville, they get the benefit from, I'll just put it in Troutman. They'll take it. They'll take anything. And I just kind of see ourselves potentially selling ourselves short. So just to add to basically what I'm seeing and what, you know, we farm out here. We've been out here since 1764, the Murdoch family, and we're proud of that. And, you know, just to see it to become what it is, you know, I'm not one to try to tell somebody what to do with their land, but there's rules and there's ways of going about it. And to, I guess, piggyback off what Gene said as far as to properly go and look at it, and like he said, does this match up with our keeping the rural landscape and preserving what people are moving here for a reason, and it's because of our family members that have provided and provided this community that people want to come here for some odd reason. Are we selling ourselves out to change that? So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment to town council? Thank you.
Hi, my name's Glenn Weber. I've been a resident of the ETJ area for 38 years. I didn't plan on talking up here tonight, but I've been thinking about something, and I'd really like to request that the town of Troutman extend the right for everybody in the ETJ area to be able to vote and run for town council as you all are. We talked about equal rights when we all gave the Pledge of Allegiance and all. And the people in the ETJ, we're not getting equal rights. We can come up and be on the zoning board, and we can make really a fake vote, because it always gets overturned or can be overturned by town council. We pay taxes in the county. We live in the county. So if Troutman wants to give us zoning regulations and things, then they ought to let us have 100% involvement in it. No, we don't want to be in the city and double our taxes. We never did want to be. This used to be a country. But now, because developers are all coming in and there's lots of money to be made, the people that live in the ETJ area are getting squashed. How many miles are in the town limits and how many miles are in the ETJ? How many residents are in the town of Troutman and how many residents are in the ETJ? It's not fair. So I want to ask you to either consider allowing us to all vote and run for office, or I want you to consider abolishing the ETJ, which has been done in several states and has been done some in this state. Goes on in legal battles for years. But we, as American citizens, have the same rights as anybody else. And we particularly have rights for our own properties and the neighborhoods we live in. I think you all can see what's happened in Troutman. Basically, in the past 6 years, it's gone nuts. We've got, like these people are saying, you go down these back roads and all, or maybe just go stand on Autumn Leaf Road. Dan Heister's place is a great spot in the corner or something. I have to drive the roads quite often. I'm always run off on Autumn Leaf Road. Another sore spot with me, I can't run for office. I can't vote. I pay taxes on 8 pieces of property in the town of Troutman. Well, if I can pay taxes here, even though it's my residence, why can't I vote? Why can't I run for office? So that's what I want you all to consider, and I appreciate you hearing me out tonight.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to comment to town council? Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Next time I'll get this done before I come up. Like I say, I wasn't planning on speaking.
Right, all right.
Good thing they don't count that in your 3 minutes.
Probably an excellent thing. But I can't count good, so.
Council members, my name is Richard Coleman. I'm actually a current candidate running for county commissioner, and I'm just bringing a concern that I have as a candidate to your guys' attention. In a period of about 6 weeks, I've had about 67 signs go missing in the town of Troutman, and I know that the sign issues are a pretty consistent issue in campaigns going missing. In fact, I ran the last time, and I ran into plenty of issues where signs were questionable, or I made my missteps in the process, and I corrected them along the way. But I've had signs up in Troutman since the fair on private property, and I've had them go missing on 4 separate occasions, and each occasion I tried to go through the proper channels, whether it was town management, the Board of Elections, DOT, because I understand now pretty thoroughly what the statutes and regulations are when it comes to political signs. And each time I was told that by each entity that it wasn't them that was taking them. And on last Tuesday, like I said, I got to the point where we'd lost, I think, the roughly 45 signs, and I went back out with 22 more. And this last time, I put air tags and trackers on them, and I put cameras on them so that we could see who was taking them. And lo and behold, it was the town of Troutman. And I had a conversation, and I understand how public comment works. Like I said, I'm a candidate. I get that. I'm not going to call anybody out here by name. But if we're going to pull political signs off of private property, we should have a thorough understanding of whether that is right-of-way or it's private property. And what disappoints me the most, and I came in here and listened to your guys' pre-agenda meeting on Monday, and I listened to another sign issue that you're dealing with within the county. And with all due respect, the guy that's pulling the signs doesn't know which is right-of-way, which is private property. And I've gotten no warning, no phone call. In fact, it was me reaching out to others to make sure that I wasn't in violation. And I wasn't. But the signs still went missing. And we found them that night, leaned up against the utility shed right outside Town Hall, after I've been told repeatedly that they weren't taken by the town. So I'm bringing that to you as a concern that I'm hoping that you will address internally so that this doesn't happen to anybody moving forward. Thank you.
Anyone else like to address town council?
My name is Jessica Williams. Just very briefly, to piggyback off what Jean Reese had stated earlier, I think what the people, on the Murdoch Road, Hoover Road, Duck Creek area, I think what we are wanting to request from the council is that we can get some type of reconsideration of the town map or the land use, the future land use map. Just because to Mr. Auctioner, last meeting, he kind of said that there wasn't a lot of people that showed up for those meetings and there wasn't a lot of community involvement. A lot of us that live over there, we're in the ETJ, so we're not in the town. We don't get, I had to subscribe to the town of Troutman's email so I could just keep up to date, or sometimes I just have to get on the website and look myself. So a lot of these people are not getting notifications for, rezoning requests. We're not getting notifications because we're in the ETJ. So a lot of this stuff we're not notified of. And I think that if you hold another public meeting or comment session or, a community meeting where people can come and look at the land use map again, especially for this area, but like Jean said, the map, when you look at it, it looks totally, in opposition of what the whole text says. The whole text basically has page after page after page after paragraph of text that says, we want to preserve rural land. We want to preserve this. We want to preserve historical things, stuff like that. And then the map just totally kind of contradicts the text. So I think to Mr. Auctioner, whenever he kind of said that last meeting, people aren't showing up, people aren't getting involved. Specifically for that area of town, we're in the ETJ. We don't really get notifications of stuff. We have, I had to dig to find the meeting that I came to for that map, the future land use map meeting. I had to dig and dig and dig, and I was like, oh, I didn't know this was going on. And then I showed up, So communication isn't really cohesive when it comes to that part of town. And like a lot of people say, we're in the ETJ, and if I call the police department to come out in Statesville, they say, oh no, Troutman services you. You got to call Troutman. So, we're part of the town, even though we're not really in the town. But I think what we're requesting really is just to maybe consider having another future land use map community involvement, just so more people can get involved and more communication can be sent out to the people that don't normally get it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address town council? Okay. All right, we will close public comment and move into elected reports and staff. Item number 6, I will start with town council. I will start to my left.
Well, thank you all. I'd like to thank the public here for their comments. It's important to help us understand what the public's dealing with. We can only be sometimes where we are, and you really help to give us full circle of what's going on in the town. Something that maybe went a little unnoticed was I'd like to thank the Parks and Rec Department and Emily Watson for the perseverance through the Jingle Run 5K and rescheduling it, and also hosting it in the middle of another rainstorm the following weekend. Unfortunately, I signed up and wasn't able to run in it because I was out of town, but it was just great to see the pictures and the perseverance to push through that and continue to host it. Also, I'd like to thank the town employees for their dedication to the town to earn awards such as Employees of the Month and Employees of the Year. It takes a lot of work to get that and to get noticed and to also be recognized. And also, thank the rest of the staff too for supporting them and encouraging them in their job and their daily duties.
Thank you. Ms. Harris?
Happy New Year, everyone. Hoping we'll have another great year in the town of the lovely town of Troutman. As I say, many of you may not have heard me say, I was born and raised here, and I love the town just like everybody in this room probably loves their town as well. Congratulations, they're not here anymore, to our employees, Cameron, Darren, and Justin. Well, Justin's still here, so congratulations, Justin. Well deserved. I sit beside Justin every agenda meeting, so that's my buddy. But Justin, congratulations, and we thank you for all that you do for the town of Troutman. And thank you to the Antrican Smith. Did I say it right? Antrican? Yes. Thank you so much for doing that for our town. We appreciate that. The decorations are just lovely, and we just hate that somebody decided that they didn't like them. And we appreciate you and your family for putting those back up. Thank you all the citizens for coming out on today. And whether you spoke or not, we appreciate you for being in this room because you do care, and we know that. Last thing, happy Founders Day to my sorority sisters, Delta Sigma Theta, on January 13th, which just happens to be our our town manager, I said mayor, town manager's birthday on that same day. So happy early birthday to our town manager.
Mr. Now?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to thank our police department for the outstanding job that they did with Statesville Police Department and Mooresville Police Department in catching and charging the individuals that were involved with the break-ins and robberies in Statesville, Troutman, and Mooresville. We don't need this type of action in this town, and we're not going to tolerate it, and we're going to work to make sure that these people are charged accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hinkle?
Well, just, I want to say kudos, and I agree with my three previous colleagues. And as Councilman Al said, thank you to the police department for your diligent work in working with other accompanying agencies and finding and arresting the culprits to two robberies here in Troutman. And again, as Councilman Al said, we're not going to tolerate that here. And thank you very much. And I want to also thank the employees of the year and the month. And Justin, he's kind of my buddy too. I see him out of work too at a certain place, and so I'll have to pick at him a little bit. But it was just very nice to see that he got totally surprised. And it's always good. But congratulations, and congratulations to the others as well. And thank you, of course, to all who came tonight. Those, as Councilman Harris said, Council Lady Harris said, who spoke, and those who didn't speak as well. Thank you for being here, participating, and you know, sometimes I wonder if something we did years and years ago, maybe we shouldn't start again. It's called a Citizens Academy, where you know, you open it up to folks even outside of town, inside town, to where they come and they spend several sessions just learning how the town operates and what goes on and what guidelines and rules we follow, and sometimes why things happen the way they do that appear to not be right. But It's just how we're set up, and if they need to be re-examined, well, that's what we need to do. But something that perhaps if there's interest, we may revitalize. It's probably been 10, 12 years ago, but it was a success at the time, even though it was short-lived. But it was very informative, and I think the people who participated in it learned a lot, not only of Troutman, but surrounding community and you know, just how government works. So that's something that I would throw out there for all of us to think about as possibly revitalizing sometime in the not too distant future. And with that, I'll pass it on to you, sir.
Aksha?
I don't like going last. Now I understand. Ditto. But no, yeah, just like everyone else said, it was great to see all the recognitions, all of them well-deserved. Great to see a big crowd here, and telling us what you think. And like you said, just like you said, Miss Williams, communication is not always that easy. It's a lot of times we have to go digging for what people want to know too, you know? So, I mean, I totally understand and agree with your comments with regards to that. So, but thank you, everybody. This is probably my hardest meeting. Food line did not have my jelly beans, so I have been struggling up here tonight. That has been a staple of these meetings here for the past, what, year and a half or so. But I was able to make it through. I would like to recognize my father-in-law is here. Traveled a long way to see the American government system in action. So, you want to stand? Mr. Arthur Operbeck. So I'm sure I'll have to answer a lot of questions on the car ride home. But yeah, other than that, again, Happy New Year to all. Again, thank you all for coming. Thank you for letting us know what's on your mind. Otherwise, we would never know. With that, that's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Oberbeck. I know you came a long way. I've got a place I visit in the Netherlands and periodically cross country lines. So thanks for coming and watching the U.S. political process in a microcosm at its best. So thank you for doing that. I'm sure you could have found other things to do tonight, but welcome. I wasn't able to be here last month, and I did want to make sure that I sent my regards to the Reed family. Kenneth Reed passed away, and I wasn't able to be here, but I was able to attend his services. And again, there are folks in the community that consistently give back to our community, get involved, and are dedicated, and I appreciate all that he gave to our community and who he has been in terms of our planning and zoning. Like our council members, I appreciate those comments and appreciate folks' willingness to share their thoughts and concerns. We do periodically update our land use maps. We look at our ordinances, and we are in the process and have been talking about updating those documents. And again, welcome input from folks. And I've been through at least 3 iterations of updating our land use maps. And I've been in this room. We've done it in smaller groups around the town in different locations. And I've seen where we've had a lot of input, both from people in town and people from ETJ. And again, I welcome folks to continue to get involved as we update those. It doesn't always suit even what council wants. It doesn't always suit everything that every individual wants. But again, it's a roadmap. It is not, I would say, it's not the Bible, it's not the gospel truth, but it is a way for us to look at how we grow the town. And these council members, as Mr. Harris knows, have to make a lot of difficult decisions based on those roadmaps. And so as we continue to look at those in the future, again, I would ask folks to continue to get involved and to show up and invite your comments during that period. I also want to make sure that I too pile on a little bit with Justin. He showed up a bit when we were needing some help on the financial side, and I think it was a great hire, Mr. Wyatt, to bring him on board, and he's done a great job. And so it's impressive to see the growth of both the department and how clean our finances are for our town. So again, Justin, congratulations, and we appreciate that. At this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Wyatt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We will have department head comments first. It's going to be Emily Watson speaking about our MLK celebration, I'm sure, as other things.
Thank you. I was excited to introduce you to Darren tonight. He came to us from Mooresville Parks and Recreation. He was with them for a number of years, so he's been with us almost a year now, and he's been a game changer for our department. So I was happy to introduce you to him tonight. Our new special events coordinator was here tonight as well, and she's snuck out, but I didn't get to introduce you to her. She's the smartest person I know. She has also been a game changer, and it has been phenomenal since she's joined us. Her name is Amber, and I look forward to introducing you all to her as well. She joined us part-time back in November. She came on full-time 2 weeks ago, and it has been incredible to get some help in the special events department. But as you know, as a department of one by myself for 6 years, so to have some help is huge. So thank you for supporting that. And so these guys I have a great staff, and so it's only up from here. So I'm looking forward to working with them, and I was excited to be able to recognize him tonight. So we have a number of events coming up, and we've got a lot going on in our department, and I'm going to tell you about some of those. We've been busy getting Christmas down and organized and getting caught up on some trainings and getting Amber trained and preparing for the spring season, because athletics will be taking off here in the end of February, so we're getting prepared for that and getting settled in our new facility. So we've been busy, but we're thankful for our new facility, thankful for new staff. So things are going great in the Parks and Recreation Department, and appreciate your support. Tomorrow we have our Martin Luther King celebration, our 3rd annual. We have Eugene Robinson, 16 seasons. He was with the NFL. We're really looking forward to that. Spoke with him today. He's really looking forward to joining us. That will be at 8:30 in the morning at the Career Academy School. We've asked for an RSVP. We have 80 people so far joining us, so that should be a great event. So the weather doesn't look too good. We were planning to go out after that and do a service project, but Austin and I have been looking at the weather, and they're calling for maybe a little bit of sleet and some wintry mix in the morning. I'm not sure how we can make that work with what we plan to do, but we will wait to worry about that. So we'll see what tomorrow morning looks like on that. For Valentine's, Lisa Crates Photography is offering the free family photos for Valentine's again. You can bring whoever you'd like, whether that's your sweetheart, your grandchildren, your pet, whatever, to Town Hall. Their suggested donation of $10 they're collecting to go to my sister's house. They're doing, in partnership with the Ruritan Club, a bedroom renovation to go in for the domestic violence victims. They're renovating the bedrooms that they house them in with the donations from the Valentine photo shoot. But it's free if you don't feel led to give a donation. But that is on February 4th here at Town Hall. You're invited to join us. Just contact us to get your appointment time for that. In the month of March, I don't have a flyer for this, Michael. We just confirmed it yesterday. In the month of March, on Wednesdays, we are offering a beginner sewing camp on Wednesdays from 10 to 12, partnering with First United Methodist Church. They're providing all the sewing machines, so you can come with having no skills whatsoever and leave being somewhat intermediate. from 10 to 12 on Wednesday mornings, whether this is for our seniors or maybe our stay-at-home moms, or whoever that time slot fits for. It's $30. That pays for your supplies. We're going to host that down at our Parks and Recreation Center. But all the information's on our website. Call us if you have any questions on that. Sprint into Spring, our 11th annual Sprint into Spring is on the 10th of March. 5K and 10K, information on our website. Join us for that. We've already got 50 or 55 people signed up for that already. Hopefully it won't be as nasty as the Jingle Run was. Our Sprint into Spring last year was sleet. Hopefully it won't be that. We're looking for some good weather for a race. We have a youth baseball camp planned with South Iredell High School for March 16th. First grade through 8th grade. It's going to be here at the park. Free pizza lunch, registration on our website. The coaches from the baseball staff there are going to lead that camp for us just to kick off our spring season. Lisa Krates is also going to offer us a smartphone photography workshop. So people like Debbie Page might walk around with a fancy camera, but the rest of us walk around with a smartphone. So Lisa Krates is going to teach us how to use our smartphones and utilize the cameras to produce quality photography. And Michael, there is a flyer for that. Should be on the next slide. If not, there should have been, but maybe not. Also, our Spring Craft Expo, 4th annual on that, April 6th. We already have 85 of the 130 slots filled up last year. We filled up the full gym, so we are utilizing both gyms at South Iredell this year, the old gym and the new gym. So we're able to accept twice as many vendors. So that is on April 6th. If you're interested in joining us, please contact us. The spots are filling up quickly. That's on April 6th at the high school. And that's all I have for right now. So we have a busy spring ahead of us. And it's all on our website, or you can always call us or stop by if you need more information. It's on our Facebook page as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I don't have this on my list, but I was going to say the Public Works the other day, I was proud of the guys. They were out there during that torrential downpour, rain for all day long. They were in it, make sure the street storm drains were good. The sewer lift stations were rocking all day long. A bunch of our right-of-ways were getting close to being underwater, so they stayed very, very busy. Stayed to about 11:30 that night. Then whenever that happened, the power decided to go out about 11 something like that night as well. So had to run a couple generators to a couple pump stations after all that. But this past month we installed 50 meters, which we probably would have installed more, but we're struggling to get meters right now. But did about 80 inspections, a pretty large sewer service repair. We had 6 water leaks, which is that's time of the year when the weather starts getting colder. We had a couple larger ones and then a few other smaller ones. Had a pump rebuild at Centers Ridge Lift Station. We decided to take fire extinguishers that we've never had at all our lift stations. So now each one of those has a fire extinguisher in case of an emergency. We had a fuel issue at Massey generator. We were able to get that repaired. We serviced 5 vehicles and replaced brakes on a police car as well as a radiator on a Public Works vehicle. So that was it.
All right, for the Finance Department, first I'd like to say thank you for all the kind comments, and again, it's an honor. And I forgot to thank my family for coming, so hopefully they won't disown me, but if they're watching still, thank you. For the Finance Department, and before I forget, again, all the people up here behind these tables, every single person easily deserves that award as much, if not more, than I do, because they all work extremely hard as well. Each department's a little bit different, and I get to see, because they call me the money guy or whatever, money bags, whatever they want to call me. But because I get to see all the departments and how they operate, it's really cool and makes my job pretty unique. And and it's not boring, although most people probably think numbers and math is boring, but I get a kick out of it, so I guess I'm a nerd for that. But they all do a great job, and when I came in, I seen some areas that needed improvement just from my previous audit background, and you know, change is hard, and nobody ever complained, nobody ever said, no, we shouldn't do it that way because we've always done it this way. You know, they worked with me and just always helped me make it an easiest transition as possible. So again, I just appreciate all the department heads, the town manager, the employees that work up front. Those ladies are fantastic. Just like Austin talking about, you know, new meter installs, 50 or 60 the last several months consistently. That is very busy on them because there's a long process that goes in when we have a new, you know, a new move in or whatever, and they do a fantastic job. So if you come in and get frustrated about something, just please be patient with them. They're working extremely hard, and we all just do the best we can do and try to be better each day. But I've already talked long enough, but I'm glad the audit went well. Now it's time for budget season, so we've already had, you know, started those talks, and we'll be getting full going with that pretty soon. We have a new accounting software that will be coming hopefully April, probably early May, mid-May. We're working with the ICS. It's the same organization. It's just a more advanced system. It'll allow us to do some cool things that I think is pretty cool, and it's just, it'll help us get more in the, you know, 2024 year. And I think I've covered everything. Sorry for talking so much.
I was just going to share with you all this evening just some numbers from the planning department this year. In 2023, we were very busy, but we saw a trend where I think the first 2 years I was here, we did a lot of rezonings. I think we did 26 conditional zoning cases in my first 2 years here, which is a lot for a town this size. That actually may have been a year and a half. So we were very busy with that. But in the last year or so, we've been really seeing a lot of uptick in permitting. I think I've mentioned this several times, but last year we actually issued right under 1,000 permits for new construction in the town. 981 permits were issued. We also, we had a full year of a full-time code enforcement officer, which was a new position for the town, and that allowed us to start doing some things that we hadn't been doing in the past. We were not able to do new construction CO inspections. So we were able to do that with Shane being on board. He goes out, he looks at the driveways, he's looking at sidewalks in front of the houses when they're built. He's checking the landscaping to make sure that all those things are in place, which is something we weren't able to do before. He inspected 655 new homes this year. So we have 655 new houses that were built, and actually people are living in them in the town of Troutman. Other than that, we also process many other zoning applications. Plan review is something that we really saw an increase in. So we've gone from seeing a lot of the rezonings, which is the beginning of a development project, to seeing not only permits being issued, which is the end of a project, but we're seeing plans come in. And we've reviewed 18 new plan sets this year. Some of those residential, 18 of those were non-residential. So that's something sort of different and unique for the town as well. We have seen plans come in for the first phase of Wakefield Village. So I wanted to let you all know that. We have gotten the plans for the 55 and over community. Those have come in and we are reviewing those. So we've been busy there. We've done a lot of text amendments and we continue to work on those ordinances as well. So thank you.
For the during December, the police department, we had our, I may have discussed it last month, but we did have 3 recruits graduate ability with 100% passing rate for the people we'd hired. One of our recruits had the highest test score average for the multiple tests they take each week, and another recruit had the highest score on the state exam of the whole class. So we're really proud of them. They're now sworn in and are starting the field training program that will take 12 to 16 weeks before they're on solo patrol duties. As various buildings we have, we've been able to gain some space. So we went from 24 officers having, 3 office spaces to now we have 5 in town hall, and we're very thankful for that. Our evidence room was becoming completely full, and we were able to start beginning expanding that. And it was already mentioned, but I do want to thank the Parks and Rec employees, Darren Yoder and Jay Murdoch. They worked very hard making shelving that's going to work really great for us with that. We completed, with 2023 ended, we completed our second year of using new tracking systems and a standardized reporting process. And this is going to allow us to present accurate crime statistics for 2023 to the community and council in a few weeks as we compile everything and do all the calculations so we can give an accurate representation of where things stand. But I would also like to appreciate all of your thanks for our officers. We have a great team. They work very hard. A lot of them care about the community. We have several officers that are now living in or close, just right outside of Troutman. So it's home to them too. So that helps increase how much they care. But that's all from the police department.
Thank you all. And as you can tell by each department director, they're very busy. As I said earlier with some of the public comments, Christine and Eric Klontz, we've spoken numerous times. I really feel sorry for their situation. Eric and I basically grew up together. He's a lot older than me, for the record, but we basically grew up together and hunted some of those areas as young teens. And I do agree from the quality of life that we grew up with right there in that particular area, there has been a lot of development, some in our town limits, a lot of it not in our town limits, that has changed the face of the fields and the lake that he and I used to play on a regular basis. When they told me about their veteran disabled neighbor that his dog got killed, that's such a tragedy. We have reached out to DOT numerous times, as they have. The names they spoke to, if I recall correctly, actually came from me to them to speak with. I certainly feel like sometimes the squeaky wheel is the one that does get the grease. All I can say at this point for you all and everybody else's knowledge is whenever this is completed, they are supposed to repave the Hamptons Cove Road, and we have asked and will continue to ask that speed humps or devices be placed in there, because as Christine said, that was a dead-end street of 14. Now it's an open thoroughfare for a couple hundred. And sometimes, even in that situation, as I have explained to them, that's not a town street. We don't have control, but DOT does. So all we can do is advocate on their behalf for the situation that they're dealing with. Highway Patrol and others have also tried to work it at times, but it's just like in our town. We have had citizens here, more complaints than we have had positive comments because of the speed devices that we have put in. People threatening to sue us because their car was damaged. Others talking about how much of an idiot we are for putting speed bumps at a four-way intersection. Well, that just goes to common sense. They're there because people were not stopping before. I even took a video and sent to one citizen. Even with the speed humps there, a person came by and still didn't stop. But we cannot control how the public is or was, whether that be new people or people that have lived here a long time that are taking shortcuts and driving like maniacs. As the chief can tell you, his officers are very busy. Highway Patrol is very busy patrolling the area. A lot of times with growth, there are some positive things, but there is always the negative. If that's what we focus on, then everything is going to be negative. The only thing that I will add to that dilemma that we're all having to deal with is Iredell County in many categories is considered a top 2 county in the state of North Carolina and many specifics. North Carolina is considered a top 5 state in the United States. That being said, it's safely to assume we're at least the 10 best county to live in the United States, if you use that math.
We cannot tell people to not sell their property. All we can do is devise the land use plan that these folks were speaking about. We updated it quicker than it has normally been in the past because there has been so much growth. I certainly sympathize that everyone don't take the time themselves to keep informed as to when we're doing things, but just like Ms. Williams said, she got put on the email list. Everybody, that's an option out there. We repeat that at least once or twice a year, whether they're town residents or ETJ, so that they can be included. We do not always have to agree on issues of what's proper and what's not proper. But just as Mr. Reese said last month, he and I have had great conversations. We don't agree with each other at all, but we've had great conversations. I appreciate being able to speak to someone and them be respectful and back. They're not going to social media accusing us of illegal activity or doing things of that nature. The few things, and I do think he and I both can say there's some things we both do agree on, but whether it be this particular issue of what land use is or should be out there, I'm not certain that we will ever agree. But as a town manager, I am supposed to do what has been done by committees and what you all have approved. That's my job that you all hired me to do. When we are doing economic development recruitment, it is based off of that land use plan. Some of these folks in the audience last month did extraordinary things that were not appropriate. At the end of the meeting, I had very harsh comments about those people, but it was amazing how some wanted to turn it around and say, I was scolding you all. I've never scolded you all. It's not my place. You all are my boss. But for a couple individuals that were in the audience, I said what I meant. I have hired an attorney, and there will be consequences for their actions. We certainly all can get along. We certainly can agree to disagree. There is a process that we all have to follow, whether it be me as an employee, whether it be them as a citizen, or whether it be you all as elected officials. I'm not preaching to anyone, but I'm not going to be accused of criminal activity when it's not so. I'm not going to be targeted by an individual or individuals to cause me grief and pain professionally or personally, and there will be consequences for that. And that's simply what those comments were meant for. As far as the Mr. Hainline stated driving to Charlotte and things that he witnessed, I agree with him. But I also am at least one generation, if not two, older than him. I can remember driving that same track down to Cornelius, and the only thing that was there was a Huddle House and a McDonald's. That's not been that many decades ago. That's all that was there. It grew because it grew, because of its land use plan and because of those things. I certainly agree with everybody here that speaks negatively of the traffic in Mooresville. I too experience it just like they do. Just like Mr. Weber, I pay property tax on numerous properties in the town, not just the one that I live in, even though he's in the ETJ. I agree with a lot of what these folks are saying. But the sad reality is, if we put a map out here now of our town limits and ask everybody here, where do you want the commercial part, the light industrial to go? Most of them's going to point somewhere that's nowhere near their house. But then we got those citizens to deal with next when it comes in their backyard and they don't want us to put it there. Several of you as elected officials recall when we tried to do 45, 8 and 10 years ago with a different project, they wanted residential. Then when the residential project came, they didn't want residential. Then when the commercial project came, they didn't want commercial. I get it. A lot of people don't want their backyard changing, but you all as elected officials and we as staff cannot tell people they can't sell their property. We are supposed to tell them what can be built in those certain areas. I'm not here telling anybody in the room where industrial needs to go. That's you all's decision and theirs is input. It's my job for you all to make sure that we recruit those when you tell us this is the plan. That's what I've been doing. That's what Iredell County EDC has been doing, but yet somehow that makes me a criminal because I'm getting my pockets lined because I did what you all hired me to do. A lot of these folks that live in our ETJ are using our town amenities every day, and that's great. That's why we have them. Our businesses want outside people to come in. But just like Mr. Weber said, he's lived here 48 years, Mr. Weber?
It's 40 years. I said 38, but it's 40.
he and I have had great conversations over the years. As far as I know, we like each other, but that don't mean he likes half of what I have to say. That's exactly. See, he didn't want the rest of everybody to know he likes me. But the point is, I don't disagree with some of what he is stating. However, the reality is that's a state lawmaker decision. That's not town council to let ETGA members to vote inside our town limits. It is not the town's decision to determine what ETJ is or not. That's the people who sell their property and then come in and ask to be annexed into our contiguous city limits that extends the ETJ. It is a discussion that is horrid all across the state for those communities that are thriving. But there are more communities that are not, and it's not an issue. They would beg to trade for our issues. But to Mr. Weber's point, I just want him to know you all can't make that decision to allow him to vote in an ETJ area. That's the state lawmakers. The other thing I will state, Mr. Coleman stood up and stated his version of what had transpired. I would love to read the comments that I answered to a press person asking questions and read the comment from our employee over his behavior and conduct. I don't think it would be appropriate or professional. All I will say to this point is that version, I'm not saying any part of it's not accurate, but I'm saying he left a whole bunch of facts out that point a whole different version than what reality happened. One, I don't know anything about these tags that he's talking about putting in signs. The date that these signs was occurred on Tuesday, I spoke to the property owner and told the property owner they were there at 3:30. At 4:15, 4:30ish, we were talking. He said they were gone. I then suggested it be DOT. You can talk to several department directors here. I sent out my second email inquiry. Are we sure we're not picking up these signs? Contrary to what he and anybody else thinks, I can't be in everybody's vehicle knowing what they're doing 100% of the time. My response from all the department directors, no, we're not doing it. Due to an unrelated incident we was made aware of, I was speaking with the planning director, and we learned that the code enforcement officer had in fact picked these signs up. I called the business owner back, told him they would be put back up, and explained it was a new employee that they were in the state right of way, regardless of what Mr. Coleman said. They were in the state right of way, but it was on private property. He should not have picked those up. The planning director and I explained the rest of the statute that he had a misinterpretation on. As I explained to the press person that came out, you all and I and some of these folks in this room have complained about the trashy signs that littered not only our town but others. We have gotten compliments in the past that people are appreciative of us picking these trashy signs up. One of the questions I had was, well, did you call him? He don't get any favoritism over anybody else. If we had to call every sign person that we picked up to say, hey, we got your sign, then our code enforcement would be doing nothing but spending half of his day calling people that put out illegal signs. Councilman Jaredzinski can also attest. A couple years ago, he and I don't mind showing people where they can be placed. We went around and I showed him specifically, did I not? So yes. My directives to staff sometimes are misaligned, but the one sentence that the employee did say that I will share for everybody, it is certainly wrong this day and time when people claim to be Christians that they're attacking others and accusing somebody else of wrongdoing, and they demand blood or vengeance instead of understanding forgiveness, and sometimes humans just simply make an error. If it's corrected and we move forward, great. I don't know about the 50-some or 60-some signs he's alleging. I know that after numerous trips up here and antagonizing staff, one of our members in particular felt threatened verbally, that he decided to file a police report. Our code enforcement officer with planning director and myself talking says as far as he goes, there were 10 to 12 signs that have not been returned. I told the news person that had asked us for an article, if he wants reimbursed for 10 to 12 signs, great. But as far as where the signs were that day, we will verify tomorrow if there's ever been any out here beside the building. But the ones that occurred that Tuesday were in his truck at a different location, and they were installed the next morning, which is when he was verbally accosted by Mr. Coleman, and it was filmed.
they would share that video, we'll know how it actually happened factually. But as far as the rest of what we're doing this evening, I appreciate you all. I certainly appreciate the staff, the citizens, and you all that reached out after people misinterpreted what the comments at last month's meeting were. And I certainly appreciate all those that think all staff, myself included, are doing a great job.
Thank you, Mr. Wyatt. I appreciate the comments regarding really all the things that goes into just trying to get through development. I mean, I think it's something, we've got our retreat coming up. I think we'll all have conversations about, you know, kind of that process like we always do. And again, definitely something that is always at the top of our minds as we continue to grow. And I appreciate your point. I do travel the state quite a bit, and there are communities in our state that are not growing. And I can assure folks that yes, we're dealing with growth, and these are problems that some of the folks around our state would love to have. And hopefully we can do it in a responsible way. And again, working with council members in understanding how we will continue to grow rather than retreat. So again, thank you for that. I would say at this time we're moving into closed session. Before I do that, historically, just shared some comments from Dr. King. As we move to tomorrow, hopefully folks will get an opportunity to come out and hear our speaker and participate. One of the quote Dr. King said was, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And again, we have an example of that tonight from a family. And again, I would ask us all to think about that particular quote as we move throughout the year, and look forward to working with everyone as we move forward. Council, at this time, I will ask for a vote to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statutes 143, 318A, 11A3, and 318, 11A6. First, to consult an attorney, and second, to discuss personnel.
Is it possible to request a small break before we enter closed session?
It is.
I would like to do that. If so, I'd make that motion.
Is
Take
there a
just
second?
Small break before we enter closed session under the general statutes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Mr. Mayor.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
In opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. We'll reconvene in 5 minutes.